Hi, it's Claire, your intuitive reader. Am I reading your story? Let's find out. I'm reading some kind of story. Oh my gosh, I have gotten download after download today. It's just been insane. Really, honestly, the connections I'm getting to things are just beyond what I could have ever imagined. I first got the song "I'm Still Standing" by Elton John. I've never watched the video. I just know the "I'm still standing, da 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 da." I'm not a singer. And then when I watched the video, because it's on YouTube, so I watched it. I saw that he was in front of the French consulate or French United Nations, one of these main buildings of France. The embassy, something like that. And then it came back to me that we are in the age of Aquarius, and the last time this happened, it was Pluto in Aquarius. It's returning. It's returned now. The last time was during the French Revolution. I was out looking at Christmas lights, and there was an entire French display, which I live in California, so it's not expected, with a big Eiffel Tower and French flag. And it kept coming back. The revolutions are starting. When I started this channel, that's actually what I kept getting. It's like the revolution is coming. And there was just a Syrian revolution with the fall of Bashar al-Assad. And the story came up on my newsfeed today after I had already gotten this download. And I've been getting the number 4242. And the story was about them having to cover up the fact that under Assad, I don't know how to pronounce his name correctly, people were being unalived, and their families were forced to lie about it because there was a huge, massive cover-up. And in this story, 42 people in this one building were unalived. It was right on track with what downloads I've been getting, unfortunately. And this happened in Damascus. And before the pandemic, I went to an antique store, a very unusual antique store. And I saw this box, and it was like this color, but darker, just like the dark parts of it. It wasn't shiny. It wasn't anything. It was very, it looked kind of like this, very, very dark. And I picked it up. I was like, I want this. So I asked how much it was, and he gave me a very low price. And I was like, oh, okay. Because I wanted this box. I don't know why. And then he's like, oh, do you mind if I shine it up? And when we started shining it up, it was actually this. It was this beautiful box. And inside it said, Souvenir de Damas, 1924 to 1925, 100 years from the time it had been brought forward. So it was shined up, and it was like, whoa, this is something very special. And then I started going through this thing I do. It's kind of like a flow chart, like this leads to this, this leads to this. And I found out that Damascus is connected to Damas, and then you put C-U-S. It's they were all around the same area, but Damas is one of the oldest French families, and this is their crest. And it was near let's see, oldest city. And then I started going into the Mosque River side, which is with Sri Lanka. And so I kept getting Sri Lanka lately. And I was like, I don't know what this is about. I mean, I've just been getting all these downloads. And if you're new to the channel, you have no idea what I'm talking about. But it's an interesting story. And I'm interested in this. So then it led me to, I was finding out that during the last age of Aquarius, when Pluto was in Aquarius, that Ange Heracinth Maxinens de Damas de something, Baron de Damas, was active. He was a French general and statesman who participated in the Napoleonic Wars on the Russian side. And then, you know, of course, after Napoleon was exiled, he was not doing so great. But there was a French general who was in the National Guard, and a French general during the French Revolution. And then also during this period of time, there was a women's prison organization was formed in France. So all this came out because I was getting Damas, and then so it led me to Damascus steel, which is its hardness and flexibility while maintaining a sharp edge, in addition to its sleek appearance and attractive aesthetics. It's made out of that steel is particularly made for swords and knives. You may have seen it, the really high-end Japanese knives. They have that swirling pattern, that really beautiful etching pattern, and they're super, super great knives. Those are great, but what I found out is the pre-1750, that those, the Damascus steel was different. The raw ingredients came from India. And then around 1750, for some reason, they were unavailable. And so the ability to alchemize, to make true Damascus steel was lost. But it wasn't really lost. I think it was like kept to a certain group. It was like a secret now. Like these components, this kind of raw material was creating something that was out of this world. That led me to find out that the Game of Thrones author, he used basically Damascus steel, the old one, as his basis for his that sword throne they were on. It was extremely powerful. And what I found out is there are when they scanned these 1700 swords, that they found that there was nanotubes, nanotechnology within them. So when you used citric acid or some kind of fruit juice to wipe on the blades, you could actually see a pattern. The pattern looked very similar to code, which was very interesting because nanotubes are used in the conducting of technology and circuits. So like it would have made very much sense if they knew what they were doing and they actually put code within the etching of the swords. And so that story about the sword and the stone has a different meaning if you think about it in that way. What if this was nanotechnology? What if they realized that they could actually create code within the sword or knives or pieces of this metal, and they put them within something, and it was red and used as superconductors, because that's what they're used for now, those nanotubes. They're used for superconductors, for batteries, for all these different technology we're using nowadays. So it would have been very interesting at the time that this material was taken away from the general population, because so what I was talking about with the sword and the stone, if you put nanotechnology on there and then you put the sword or piece of metal within a block of other metal or some kind of reader, and you didn't know how to make it exit, like you know how you pop out a card on the side of your computer when you're plugging in data, you have to press it in and then it pops out. If you didn't know how to do that, if you're just pulling it and pulling it and pulling it and never figuring out that all you have to do is just press it in and it pops back out, then the person who would pull it forward would know to do that, and therefore look like they're magic, like that it was just meant for them. This is so this period of time was similar to our current time for the last, you know, 60, 70 years in relation to 200 years ago, where technology started disappearing. Components were only allowed to be used by governments and the elites. And so what if we're just having a emergence of the same history? Because technology and precious metals and things used for technology have been relegated to only these certain companies, the elite. They're getting richer and richer and richer, but these materials might still exist. So I just found this really interesting because we are in the age of Aquarius, and therefore the swords and knives, which is coming up, are really prevalent. That's what knowledge, information, technology, all this is coming forward, this new age. So let's see, nanotechnology, the tarot started to make more sense to me, at least. Like, technically, the swords are the suit of technology, innovation, and communication. And back then, that's what this steel was used for. It was used for nanotechnology. I mean, this wasn't an accident. This is a huge pattern. I mean, if you want to look it up, like, put in a search engine for Damascus steel nanotubes, you'll see what I'm talking about. The pattern looks like that. I forget what it's called. Everybody's talking about, like, Metatron, that symbol of Metatron. That's literally the pattern within the nanotubes of Damascus steel. So I just thought this was really, I'm like, wow. And then I started pulling cards and shuffling, and I got the Ace of Swords, more swords, and the Six of Swords. And so the information should be flowing evenly. We shouldn't be this far behind. We shouldn't, but I do think that there's these periods of, like, concealment. And the last age of Aquarius was, this was very interesting. I found the last age of Aquarius. Oh, I got French Revolution, return to that. The French Revolution started in 1778. And I was actually born 2 years after, like, that was the year I was born. So yes, you know how old I am now. And so, wait, what am I missing? I was just getting so much notes. Oh yeah. So the last time the Age of Aquarius came in, it was the American Revolution, the Haitian Revolution, the Age of Enlightenment, and the Industrial Revolution. Whoa. I mean, like, so this technology is coming back. We are starting to realize the reason we're like, why can't I alchemize? What am I doing wrong? And it's not what you're doing wrong. It's that, it's that things have been kept from us. We've actually been put further behind. And so that's why eventually the revolutions had to happen, because the people were supporting the monarchies, were supporting these governments, and then realized that they were being kept from all the information, all the knowledge. Yeah. Interesting. Just looking at too many cards popped out. So yeah, I mean, oh, and I got the Seven of Swords. Oh, okay. The Seven of Swords. And I feel like the Eight of Wands is usually about fast moving energy, but what I get here is like a bunch of mess. Like, they took something that was very straightforward. You know, if you think about a knife, it just cuts right through. A sword, like, right through. And Damascus steel in particular is very flexible, but very hard and very sharp. So even though it can be flexible, but it's always still it doesn't change. And so whatever you put on there would be extremely, extremely resilient to being broken. And also, if you didn't know to add fruit juice or this certain kind of acid to it, you wouldn't know that there was a hidden code there. So it's a great way to have a hidden language and not know that it was within it. I mean, with those nanotubes, that, that's something in it, in the structural nature of it. And like I said, when I saw pictures of what the etching on these swords, it looked like, in the Matrix, the code. It was very interesting. And I also wanted to show you, like, maybe we're trying to read things the wrong way. Maybe they're symbolic. Maybe there are symbols. And so they were only understood by this particular machine. So we have to now, yeah, so I see there's a lot of crossing, like getting in the way, barriers to the movement of our technology. Because, if we have the power of this technology, of the ability to do this ourselves, of the ability to alchemize, if people aren't controlling us, then we have the power back. And sometimes we have to take it back with revolution. Oh my gosh. So again, 8 of Swords. And look, this is feeling stuck. So this is using the technology, the instruments to keep things stuck. Like I was showing here, usually this is all about fast movement, but this is actually about keeping things stuck. And so the collective is starting to remember things, but it's not making sense anymore. Because before, when these structures were made, these codes were made, they used a different language. So you have to be open to, like, I started noticing when I was doing the live readings that sometimes I struggled with how to communicate to a particular person. I realized, oh my goodness, I don't know how they express things in their main language, how they mostly think and experience the world. And so without doing that, it was very confusing what I was getting in. And so I wasn't sure what to communicate. So I was getting kind of tongue-tied with the different languages. And if we don't have the same components and we're being told, oh, it's our fault that we're not able to alchemize. You can't alchemize with an old recipe, an old set of blueprints, when those materials are no longer available or are being kept from you. So thinking about it that way, like in relation to being a human being, the information you got maybe when you were growing up isn't helpful to your new world, isn't helpful in your current relationships, except to perpetuate a cycle. And when you perpetuate a cycle, you don't actually grow. And so you're having to learn a new language, a new way of seeing things, a different blueprint, so that you can alchemize within this world. Because what if we're trying to alchemize substances that we no longer have access to? And we're going, it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And it's like, well, it won't work to alchemize it in that way. We now have to use our current present time to figure out the alterations, the recipes. Okay, kind of like when you're cooking, when you're baking, and you're at a different altitude. If you're below sea level, if you're above sea level, if you're, depending on your elevation, you have to adjust, because the chemical properties, the chemistry will not be the same. So you always have to adjust for that. If you're using glass versus a metal pan, you have to adjust for that, because the components, the way it comes together is completely different. So thinking about it like that, like if you want to make certain recipes, you have to use baking soda. Certain recipes have to use baking powder. And they are very different components, and they will have very different reactions. Like, so, just thinking about that, changing the way you see things. Oh, and then you got the 10 of Pentacles. And I like this because they look like symbols. And the scarab to me is about knowledge. So bringing forth this new knowledge of a, I get the collective is thinking they need someone else to give them the answer. The problem is they're trying to understand the signs and symbols and the blueprints from their thinking of today. instead of going, oh, I actually need to create the entire key of how to read these signs and synchronicities. I am getting information from a past or a spirit guide or an ancestor who lived in the past, or even your past self, and they're giving you the information in the language, in the ways that they know how to, when they had certain components that you don't have. So you have to kind of like, if you found grandma's, you really wanted to recreate grandma's recipe, but a whole bunch of the ingredients, the instructions had been kind of like messed up by all the stuff that got on them, or just time had faded the words. And so you kind of got a snap. I mean, you're like, okay, I know it's this recipe, but I don't understand which things to use. I don't know what temperature. And maybe some of the ingredients are no longer available. So you have to change, you have to adjust, you have to see it in a different way. Okay, 5 of Pentacles. Yeah, because I think this is creating a sense of lack, like you can't see it. You can't understand it because the conditions have changed, times have changed. We came in with a blueprint. We're starting to remember that blueprint, but the blueprint isn't making sense to us because we have forgotten a lot of the knowledge. Like here's the 10 of Pentacles, 10, and we're only remembering about half of it. So it's not quite making sense. And these look to me like cobras, even though I don't think they are, but I kept getting cobras in another reading. Actually, I was reading another person and I was reading their energy and I kept seeing a cobra. And I was like, So it's like, as you try to search within and try to figure this code out, you're only getting half of it. So it's kind of feeling like you might be getting pain when you try to think about it, or frustrated, or very reactive. You have to kind of work with it. You have to kind of charm it into being. You have to realize that you're bringing half of it from the past, and half of it's coming from your current time to make the 10 of Pentacles, all that information. Whew, okay. This is an interesting reading. I just saw 2222 on the timer. Okay, and I got this earlier, but it didn't come out. The 7 of Swords. Like I said, keep the gift, the life force. It's there, but it's been taken from us. All this knowledge, all this information, it's set us back. And so we're having to remember that's our job here in this age of Aquarius as this collective. It's a hard job. I mean, but what I'm seeing here is you're going to move through things smoother once you stop fighting that you don't know, you don't remember. So meditate, really put it, in your mind, keep working on it. Keep working on it, because we have 5, then 7, and then 10. Yeah, you're going to keep working. You're going to keep getting better at this. You're going to start putting things together. Do me a favor and write down your dreams when they come out. And we got 2 7s. So that's okay. And with the first 2 cards, we got a 7. So that's like 3 7s, 2 8s. Wow. Okay, that's a lot of information, communication. 7 is the communication to me. And then this, clearing it out so that you can move forward, that it can come in quicker and easier, and start moving, like getting those circuits. Oh my gosh, they look like old cables they used to use to Cat 5 cables. I'm not sure. That's been coming up actually in my daily life. So yeah, like here, you have one right here. So this cable, this connection, as soon as you start making these connections, see, they might need a lot of concentration. They might need a lot of focus. You might have to start really just connecting the dots. Like when we were kids, we had to learn how to do that. It wasn't just something we got. And, maybe you're struggling with that too. Like there's something about your educational learning, maybe you have a learning disability, or you think about things differently. Or you weren't taught basic stuff because, our school systems seem to really suck lately. Yeah, really bad. It's like I just read an article all about how they're teaching kids not to sound out words. I've taught many kids to read, and they have to sound them out. They have to learn for themselves. You can't just use pictures, and then they're not going to learn to read. And so I think we're being de-educated, so we have less knowledge, so that we can not realize when we rebel that we actually had the power all along, and they were trying to keep it from us. And knowledge is power. Remember that. Like, we have really vilified, but knowledge is power. It creates abundance when you have more knowledge, and they were stealing this knowledge. This is how you create an abundant life, because when you have the knowledge, you know where to look. You know what questions to ask. And if you don't understand and you don't want to tell anyone that you don't understand, like, I'm going to start a literacy channel because books were my lifesaver. And I really want to make sure that everyone has that ability. That's where our power comes from. Can you imagine if everybody actually understood what they didn't just have to take someone's word for it like they did in the past. During the 1700s, most people did not know how to read. Most people had to rely on these elites, these oligarchs, these dictators, these spiritual people who were just controlling people because they had the knowledge, and they were actually taking it and manipulating it, and nobody knew. If you don't know how to read, or you don't know how to understand and how to comprehend, and the origins of words are extremely important. You don't understand that, then they are keeping you suppressed. So, judgment. And that's what I get is going on now. I mean, like I was talking about revolution, judgment time is here, and it's for the people. Like, here, I feel like this person is like, this creature, I don't know what it is, has the information, the knowledge, and this person's coming after them. Like, I don't know if they're trying to quiet them. I don't know if they're trying to stop them, but there's all this writing here. It's like, if you, this judgment is being called by the divine. Once you learn this knowledge, once you study, once you really start understanding what this knowledge is, see, here's another cable, like this connection to what we already know. We just know it in a different way. We just know it in a different language. But once we put it all together and realize that we all are communicating, we all have this knowledge. We just have to put it together and figure out how to communicate. And once we do that, the magician comes out here. And I love this because I've been really into Wicked lately, and this looks like, Elphaba. Like, that information, that strength becomes magic. Like, oh wow, this is really incredible. And see, here's a star coming in to give that spark. Like, once you realize you can understand other people, you guys can start putting your pieces together. You guys can start working together to create, like coming together all like in a network. Like, just because we speak different languages, we have different pieces of the puzzle. Just because we have different beliefs, we all have these different pieces of the puzzle. And revolution is about the people coming together and taking back their world, taking back their information, taking back their rights, taking back their power, their the ability for the many to come together and create. See, before in the 8, so you got 3 8s. That's really incredible. So see, before it was kind of stifled. See, there's a communication block. But when they come together, it grows. It grows and blooms. So 3 8s. And like I said, there was something massive that happened on 888, the 888 portal this year. And ever since then, it's just been mind-blowing. The amount of information, the amount of awakenings, the amount of connections people are making. And if we're not afraid to admit we don't understand, because reading, one of the things I realize my calling is to teach people how to read, is to convey a sense of love, of knowledge, because I'm an Aquarius. It is what I love. Knowledge is so important to me. I spent a lot of time alone as a kid, and what saved me was knowledge. Oh yeah, this is awesome. The Death card. It's like they've kept this all away from everyone, but you have a heart that is so light, so pure, that it's balanced against the feather of I forget what his name is, but that feather. And so as you bring in this information, as you are open to balancing things out, it will be an ending, a death to these structures. You are really coming forward. I mean, I just think this is amazing, with Elphaba being green. With I've never even gotten this card in this deck. And so, you know, like that magic is coming through. Like as you learn it, she was the only one who could read. Oh my gosh, this card is so, I wonder if they got this from Egyptian lore, because she was the only one who could read the language. So as you put the pieces together, as you learn, maybe you were one of those people who made up languages when you were a kid. I did. I will show it to you guys sometimes. Sometimes it's pretty crazy. I didn't know what it was. I thought I was just nuts. And then I started realizing it was actually connected to a lot of ancient languages. And so instead of judging myself, 31 on the timer, instead of judging myself, I was like, you know what? This is what it is. I knew this was going to come out. Knew it. And I love this card because it's called the Stars. It is not. And see, here's the information highway, the river of information. You are that. Oh my God, I'm really excited because I saw that come in here with the Magician, the star coming in. Like you are that. You're that special person that is going to bring forward, you know, complete change. It only takes one person to stand up and say, no, give us back our technology. Give us back our languages. Give us back everything. The strength to do that. It only takes one person. And what I get here is there are many, like we were talking about the 144,000, the stars. This card is always called the Star. And there's the little scale that we just had on the Death card. Whoa, you are bringing the ending to this tyranny, to keeping us individuals disconnected and small. I've just been getting so much lately. Wow, this is incredible. I'm going to look at these cards after this was upright. I mean, this was like face up. And this is the moon. So it is like, this has been hidden code. Hidden code, like I was talking about in the knives and the sword. And the pyramids, which were thought to be energy superconductors. So what if they were using this steel, this kind of material, to actually power these? It was reading it, just like our code does now. Think about those little memory cards, or the scans, the little barcodes. Look at this. This looks like a new barcode, but it just has different symbols. I mean, think about that. What if we just don't know the correct code? Like, I'm just like, wow. But we need each other. It doesn't matter how different we feel from each other. The truth is that we've got to work together. We've got to work together to put this code together, to get it back together so that everything can be illuminated. Wow. The wheel. And I got this earlier and I wasn't going to, because I'm going way over time, but I'm having too much fun. So see how this is using a sword, it's actually a spear, but it has a metal, you know, keeping this devil, this demon from coming up. Like, this knowledge kept everything in line, kept everything in balance, in moving. See, more code. So, oh, wow. So here's the Chariot, and this is a 7. You guys have gotten so many 7s, so many 8s, 10s, 1s. I mean, there is a lot of energy here, because even the Death card, you got the Death card, the Strength card, those are all 8s. There's like 4 or 5 8s here. And the Star card is 10 and 7, more 10s, more 7. The Moon card is a 10 and an 8. It's just like, this is intense. I've been really enjoying this energy. And like I'm saying, to get this moving, to get this going forward, we need everybody, no matter where you're from, no matter, you know, if you don't understand what the other person's saying, well, you can put on translator. Like, we've got to start being able to communicate past our differences. We've got to start putting these pieces together. The more they keep us apart, we are never going to put the puzzle back together again. And so we've got to see that the different places we are around the world is by divine design, because you needed, each person needed to know something different to bring the puzzle together. Like, I've just been getting that over and over. Puzzles, bringing people together, language, learning to read, learning to be a part of this huge puzzle. Oh my God, the world and the Emperor, XX1, the world. Like this, like the World Wide Web, that network. Like, look at that. That's like information going out in the world. It doesn't matter which of these symbols you are. We are all part of this. We are all part of the world. And see, we all sing it slightly different. We all have a different resonance. Oh, that's the other thing. If you made a bell out of this Damascus steel, if you made some kind of instrument, it would create a frequency. Frequency is what they kept talking about, might have been how they moved really large things. So that makes a lot of sense. If you were able to make sheets of this and have it at a certain frequency, it could actually create a resonance that might elevate things. Wow. I'm just getting so many downloads. This is super fun. I want to do more channeled stuff because, yeah, reading cards is cool, but I really like, oh yeah, they really want to get in the way of this. Because once we're free, see, there it is, the river of information, like, was started here. Oops, sorry. And it's here over and over again. And that looks a lot like the symbol, the family crest of the Damas. So, yeah, I've been getting French over and over. I have no connection to France at all, so it doesn't make any sense to me. Or Sri Lanka. Oh my gosh, but the 10 of Wands, like, this is a data hub, and these are all the connections coming in. Like, this is a lot of work, but it's fun too. Like, if you enjoy puzzles, if you enjoy technology and how things work and networks and stuff like that, this is right up your alley. And I think a lot of us with the age of Aquarius that's coming in, like, this is like exciting. I think a lot of the 144,000 are really into that stuff, and they're into it because it's their drive. They know it's their path in life, and it's exciting to them. They love it. You know, like here, coming together. Oh, and look, it's the Death guy. Oh my gosh, this is going to be celebration. The coming together is going to be the end. Oh my gosh. So like I said, you guys coming together, all of us coming together. Here's the boat and the water coming together is going to be the end of this. This is going to be the downfall. This is the revolution. This is it. Oh, wow. And I saw that guy here. Where is he? See? Oh, wow. Look. It's the same. Where are you? There you go. It's the same. See, he's got the information and someone's trying to take it, steal it. And there's judgment being called. And that is leading this judgment that is being called, that you took the information from the people. You took our power away. we could have been well more advanced, but some certain people wanted to take all the power, all the knowledge, and keep it for themselves so they could become rich and powerful, while we all struggled with saying, why is this so hard? Why are we having such a hard time? Didn't they do this already? Yeah, they did. And so now judgment's being called, and it's the collective coming together that's bringing this end to the stealing of information, of our true life path. And this is divinely orchestrated. Again, those two coming together. This is the Hierophant number 5, change. Change is coming. The revolution is upon us. I'm excited. It's going to be a little scary, guys. I'm just going to say, make sure you stay balanced. Make sure you rest. Yeah, I mean, you got to get some rest. See? Like, this looks like salt water in a bath. Rest. Keep getting that a lot, and balance, making sure you're keeping your mind clear. Yeah, but it's going to come in, and you're going to be part of this. You're going to be with the King of Wands. You're going to be a part of this network of this coming together. But see this, here the devil, sorry, it was just right there. I had to talk about it. But the devil's right there, trying to keep people stuck, using the technology against them. See, it's missing the mark because we're overshooting. We're like, oh, we're casting our heads down. We're staying stuck when we don't need to, when we actually have the power. We do not need to go to any deity. I mean, to me, this kind of looks like, the emperor, like, I'm this big emperor who's like has all the control, and I'm going to scare you guys, kind of like the Wizard of Oz, like, raw, be afraid of me. And it's like, I'm Elphaba, no thank you. And you don't have to be a woman, and you don't have to relate to Wicked. But I just found this interesting. This looks like that book. I know it's a chest. Oh, it looks like this. Oh my gosh, it does. It totally looks like that. That's so interesting. It really does look like that. So let's connect. Let's do this thing. Let's work together. Let's work hard. Yeah, keep your head down, but not too down. Just, focus it on what you're trying to create and who you're trying to connect with. So that was an interesting story and reading. I really enjoyed it. I love being able to share with you guys, getting to know me a little better. And so I get to be more open about my interests. And hopefully, other people have these interests. We can come together and we can have our revolution, our knowledge revolution. Like, why is that scary to people? Because knowledge is power. Take your power back. Take your power back. So I look forward to seeing you guys. I love you guys so much. And please, if you enjoyed this, or if you want to hear more like it, please like, subscribe, comment, share, turn on that little notification. And if you want to catch one of my lives, make sure you're subscribed and turn on the notification so that you know when I'm going live. And so I love you guys. Bye.